Here is Amiya. Again? Yeah, get him again, Amiya. Right now. Let's go, baby. Because she has protagonist syndrome, our Amiya is the only operator that's able to go epic mode and get a free class change into her Arts Guard form after you beat JT82 with the required E2 Banoi. Amiya's guard form is pretty underrated, mostly because I think people take one look at the red woman with the giant sword and expect all the 5-star counterparts to be like her. But our lovely Mia has some special tricks up her sleeve, and no, I'm not talking about just her second skill. Let's get into it. Yeah, so I opened the package and there's literally nothing here. I don't know who would send me an empty box. That's just kind of weird, man. Like literally, there's no like sender. They just have my address for some reason. There's just nothing on the box. It's just an empty cardboard box. Chun's death in Chapter 8 was really saddening to read, but at least she passed on her sword to Amiya so Amiya would be inspired by the power of friendship to defeat Tallulah. After collecting the 10 Chaos Rings, Amiya uses one of them to unleash the first of her final forms. Amiya's first class change transforms her into an Arts Fighter, the branch with 1 block that deals arts damage on their auto attacks. As mentioned earlier, even though Amiya doesn't have the billion attack and undying talent that Levantine Woman has, she's still very strong. Arts Fighters have base res, meaning they're able to tank arts attacks better than most operators at the cost of being less absorbent on the physical damage side. Amiya's first talent, Wrathful Cerulean Flame, expands her power of friendship to the entire battlefield when she's deployed, increasing every operator's attack and defense by 7%. This talent is doubled when her skill is active. 7% doesn't seem like a lot, and it honestly isn't in most cases, but sometimes it's just enough to make a difference, especially when you have her skill up to increase it to 14%. For example, in 25th Night's showcase of Mudrock S3M3, Guardmia's skill is activated right here to give Surtur more defense so her immortality talent doesn't accidentally proc to the possessed bone throwers. This lets her sweep the rest of the enemies. It's a simple talent that benefits everyone, including the Mia herself, because she knows how to balance others' needs and hers. It's a good practice of self-love, something you should take note on. Hold on, give me a second. Who the hell is knocking on my door? Amiya's first skill increases her attack, gives her 60% arts dodge, and makes her attacks hit twice for the entire skill duration. The arts dodge is what makes her a prime candidate for most newbies to use her against Tallulah's Ball Blast, and the Banoi herself has 20 arts resistance as her base stat, so even if she doesn't dodge it, she'll be able to tank a couple of chug splashes easily. The skill's DPS is actually really good, and it lasts for half a minute, meaning you'll get good total damage for the entire duration. The duration also means that everyone on the field gets a free 14% more attack and defense for 30 seconds, which makes it substantial now because of how long the buff lasts. What makes this skill an actual banger though are the double hit attacks, basically doubling any attack buff you give her, including her own power of friendship talent. This gives her synergy with attack buffers like Warfarin and Arc, and before you type in the comments, "Ooh, all damage operators have synergy with Warfarin and Arc, and I hate your guts and wish you died by consuming and or ingesting the following compounds: dichloromethane, phenacetin, ethanoyl chloride, acetaminophen." I mean, she gains more attack from attack buffers than other operators because of the double hit. A max Mia's DPS versus Surtur is a chunk under, but if you give them both Arc S3, suddenly their DPSs are almost identical. Obviously, while Surtur has innate res ignore, the Mia doesn't, but that doesn't discredit this skill's damage because it's still really good. The fact that I can even make the comparison to Surtur S3 is remarkable itself. Guardmia S1, along with Golden Glow S1, is used relatively often in E0 clears as an excellent arts damage source. In this WD EX8CM E0 only clear, all the Imperial Strikers and Emperor's Blade were stalled as Sword Mia and GG were deployed around the map to deal with them one by one. Guardmia's second skill makes her prioritize the lowest HP enemy in her range, dealing a 10 hit arts damage plus 500 frames on block combo, except the last hit that deals doubled true damage for extra funsies. For every enemy she kills during these slashes, the mirror steals stats from their souls, increasing her attack and arts resistance by a substantial amount, stacking only up to 3 times for a total of an added 120% attack and 60 arts res. For the rest of the skill duration, Amiya will deal true damage. There's a tiny condition on this ability. It's you can only use it once per battle. The condition sucks a lot because the skill isn't powerful enough to nuke the entire map, unlike some other operators. This skill gets compared to Chen S3 a lot, and it's not very hard to see why. They're very similar, but both skills have some pretty outlining distinctions. The first of which is that you can't use Guard Chen past chapter 8 because remember, she dies in the story and Amiya takes her sword. A spoiler alert, sorry. The second is that the burst slashes aren't actually the main component of the skill, though everyone likes focusing on it because of how flashy it looks. Comparing Chen Awesome S3 and Amiya London Edition S2, Chen not only has a higher multiplier on her skill, letting her scale better with buffs, she also deals physical damage, which lets her scale better with attack buffs. Since Amiya deals arts damage with her slashes and the arts damage per hit formula loves grilling itself against arts resistance, she doesn't actually benefit that much from getting a Warfarin or Stainless when the enemy has something like 40 res. You can see it against the big fart boss guy. While the Chen Warfarin tag team does perfectly fine, Amiya and Warfarin are a chunk under of getting through an entire phase. Both Chen and Amiya do have the same iframe mechanics you can abuse though, but for some reason the Bonoi's talent isn't active during these slashes. Honestly, you're better off using Amiya's burst to actually get the kill stacks for Amiya to buff her true damage skill attacks, something that a lot of people forget is a part of the skill. Because Samir gains a bunch of attack and arts resistance from each kill she gets during the big burst at the beginning, she can become a great source of true damage and arts tanking, both of which can be very powerful niches to have, especially when you combine them into a single operator. The single downside of this skill is the fact that it can only be used once per battle, so you better use it well. Even though it can only be used once, it has a duration of 35 seconds, so it'll last longer than you in bed. Wait, what the hell? Who turned the lights off?
Guys? Guys? Hello? Come on, this isn't funny, guys. What was that sound?